Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. I got a few things I want to bring to y'all today, mostly clips of just something that has been going on in this country for at least 50 years and is coming to a head. We need to fix this in every way possible. We got lots of solutions to try to deter the problem. Stick around, folks, and I'll explain to you what I'm actually talking about. First off, I found a meme from one of my fellow podcasters, American Patriot News. I'm sure you know the channel. Matt and Romeo and Lisa over there. But at any rate, he put out a meme that made me start thinking about putting this video together. So the Democrat Party is not a political party. They're a foreign-controlled domestic terrorist organization masquerading as a political party to bring down America. And I believe that's accurate at this point. We got people like George Soros that have been introduced into the Democrat Party in the 70s, 80s, early 80s by Hillary. And it's been downhill ever since. The Obama years were abysmal for the country. And with the exception of Trump getting in there, our country has been on a downhill slope ever since. With this weaponization of government, with the taking rights from the citizens, to just the deterioration of our economy, the open borders. And I could go on and on and on and on and on of all the crap that has happened to us over the last 20 years, but mostly in the last 4 years, it has been ramped up to the point that most people actually recognize it now. It's called socialism. Excuse me. Communism's baby brother, otherwise known as communism's baby brother. And we have Islamists, communists, and socialists in this country that are loudly and proudly stating they want to destroy this place. And they want you to vote them in so they can do it. This is a wake-up call for everybody in America that is not paying attention. Hopefully this will find a few that have not realized where we're at. This is not just a threat. This is a serious, ongoing battle that is going on in our streets, with Antifa being paid by the Soros types, these foundations and these NGOs. Not just funneling people in the country and stealing elections, but fomenting violence and this protection racket to try to pervert our kids. It's just so many, and the media being so biased. It is such a bad thing we've got going on in this country right now. But we do know that some things have been getting exposed left and right. We're still waiting on some real prosecutions in this country. A lot of us are just licking our chops, waiting for somebody like James Comey to catch new charges, be indicted, and actually be thrown in prison this time, instead of skating out on his charges. And so many others. I'm hoping hundreds of people go to jail, to be honest with you, because we've got hundreds and hundreds of criminals, if not thousands, that have perpetrated human rights against so many people, and people like Trump's civil rights, and our rights as well, censoring us on YouTube for talking about stolen elections and Dr. Fauci. Shame on you. Enough about that. Don't want to say too much. But the other day, there was a video clip from Catherine Herridge, and she reposted it, and it was there was actually a couple of different people that were interviewing Kash Patel, and I've got a couple of those clips here. And it's actually a great interview. You're welcome to go find it. But it is really, he said a couple of things that I thought was really interesting about the new 5 burn bags that they have obviously found. So we're finding all this evidence. Trump knows all the evidence, knows the whole story. Kash Patel knows the whole story. Dan Bongino knows the whole story. They've told the whole story as to how this crap started in 2015 with the Pfizer warrants and trying to do the Logan Act against General Flynn, and it just went from there to spying on everybody in Trump's cabinet, spying on senators, as we're finding out now. Nobody was above the law when it comes to getting spied on, and that was just the facts. But this here was on straight to the point. Listen to what Kash Patel says here, and I think this is how we get to the bottom of this. Not just finding information, but finding the information that we're going to be able to tie all this crap in together and prove that the same bad actors have been destroying our country for well on at least 10 years.
Let me ask you, when you learned about the discovery of the 5 burn bags here at FBI headquarters, what went through your head?
Shock. Unbelievable shock that not just one director and his leadership team, but multiple, would have information that's supposed to be secured. Some of it's classified, but I mean secured for purposes of record-keeping purposes to keep.
He said several directors. Y'all catch that?
Up with federal statutory requirements, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, and instead they were deposited in bags listed for destruction. So that was very disturbing. Just that in and of itself, putting aside whatever was in there.
The burn bags were found in room 9582.
That's called a cover-up, folks.
That's a secure facility. I'm told by former agents that it would have some sort of access system or a key card system. Does FBI leadership have a good idea who put the burn bags in that room?
We do.
You know for sure, or you have a good universe of suspects? You know.
This is the way it is in a skiff. I know this because at my job, I'm in and out of skiffs all the time. When you go into a skiff, a lot of times you have to get a special badge to be able to key code or to badge through all the doors in the skiff. A lot of times skiff is more than one room. Plus you have an escort, someone that follows you into the skiff and holds your hand basically the entire time. At least it's that way at the skiff at my job. And before you even get in the room good, you've got to sign in, put all your information, your driver's license number, your badge number, your actual physical, your name, time you checked in, the time you left. And you got to be visibly watched to make sure you don't take nothing out of the room. I'm sure it's that way with all skiffs, whether it be in the FBI building or at L3 or underneath the halls of Congress. Very secured with several layers, like a vault within a vault within a vault, because of the security clearances you got to go through to get into where you need to go in the skiff. So they absolutely know who went in and out of that skiff, because it was somebody's job to make sure that it was logged as to who was in and out of the skiff. They may have even had to do computer access to get the door to unlock. With the new technology now, wouldn't surprise me none. But I'm pretty much 100% positive that there is no way that they don't know. So I'm glad to hear that.
Know who put the burn bags there. What was the intent of the person who put the burn bags in room 9582? Was it to preserve them to be discovered later, or to make sure they were destroyed?
Well, those are the questions we're answering for the public and for this investigation, because not only are we not in the business of not exonerating people, but we're in the business of taking our investigative findings and working with Congress to say, look, even though we did not or did reach a legal conclusion on the matter, this is of such public importance in terms of the weaponization of government that happened, people like President Trump were targeted, including myself, and more senators that we just revealed thanks to this FBI's work in uncovering not just the burn bag, but other material related to Arctic frost.
In the beginning, I didn't understand why Kash Patel needed to be handing off the information to Congress instead of to the DOJ for criminal prosecution referral. I didn't get that at all, but now I understand. What it is, Congress has done a lot of investigating themselves involving a lot of the same cases that are being currently investigated by the DOJ. And so what Kash Patel does, instead of handing it directly off to the DOJ, he hands it off to Congress, and then they do their little dog and pony show hearing, call people in if they'll show up, if the subpoenas actually are upheld. Then they go through their months and months of oversight investigation. And then at one point, they either hand it back to Kash Patel, here's what we know to add to it, or, in theory, they hand it over to the Department of Justice Pam Blondie, and maybe someday she'll get to it. And that's the way it goes at this point. Hopefully they're getting to this sooner than later. I am under the impression that James Comey will be after Thanksgiving in deep water. But they're definitely saying these burn bags, we know who put them in there, we know what's in them. There's all kinds of information tying several of these cases together. Now, what do we do with this information? We give it to Congress. What does Congress do with it? They play with it for a year. Then what do we do with it? We send it over to the courts and wait for, what, Trump's term to be over? It's a little aggravating at the pace of a snail that we're going with a lot of these prosecutions. And maybe it's because they have to do it on such a dot their I's and cross their T's situation that they don't get these things thrown out on technicalities like what happened with Miss Halligan, James Comey, and Big Tish James. But I believe those cases are not over, not over by far. What I'm showing you in these first couple of clips is the corruption, hidden burn bags of evidence of them colluding against our president. Here's another story that we know the government's lying to us about. Alan Dershowitz, lifelong Democrat, Epstein lawyer, that he knows where the bodies are buried, and he literally says, on the hand of God, I cannot understand why these people will not do their job. I know who's in the Epstein files, and I know they're covering up for people. Another example of what's going on, folks. We're going to do a couple of these just to show you how rotten our government is.
I know for a fact documents are being suppressed, and they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these...
And that's what's going on with our government. We're now finding out all the corruption of the Biden administration, the auto pen, the weaponization, all these illegal immigration policies that were forced down our throat, these illegal flights, this you said money being passed out to every country in the world except our own, unless you're talking about the politicians that directly benefited. We have exposed a lot in 10 months, folks, a lot. But it takes more than exposure. Now, shutting down, you said, I think that was a win. That was a definite win for our team. But there's no doubt this, folks. The picture's been painted. We know who the bad guys are here. We know who all was involved. Listen to what Caroline Leavitt says right here. It's absolutely the truth. She couldn't say it if it wasn't true.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has unveiled shocking new evidence that former President Barack Obama and top aides in the Obama administration conspired to subvert President Trump's 2016 election victory and undermine the democratic will of the American people. While publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful transfer of power, in private, former President Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to sow discord among the public and sabotage his successor, President Trump. The new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, who is here with me today, confirms that the Obama administration manufactured politicized intelligence, which was later used as the justification for baseless smears against President Trump in an effort to try to delegitimize his victory before he even took the oath of office. The truth is that President Trump never had anything to do with Russia, and the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud perpetuated on the American people from the very beginning. And
well, we know all this is true, folks, and she can't catch a defamation case for this at this point because nobody's denying it happened. Been a lot of things corrupt going on in our country for a long time, folks, and our government just lets it happen because it's financially beneficial to certain cretins in our government. And we've got to stop a lot of that, folks. Trump has done a lot to stop a lot of that, but we've got to go harder. We've got to go strong. We've got about 3 years to get our shit together, and it's not happening fast enough for me. Even though we've got a lot going on, there's a lot of things that also need to be handled up on, like the stolen 2020 election, because we got 2026 coming up ASAP. We need to fix the elections. We need to pass the filibuster in order to get our Voting Rights Act passed, to get our voter ID mandatory in all 50 states, absentee ballots gone, the whole 9 yards. And we'll probably never lose another election again if those things get pushed through, which I am hoping they will. That will be the thing that probably helps save our country more than anything else. Now, General Flynn speaks about this almost every day, about the coup that was put against our country, about seditious conspiracy, about the internal problems we have with the people still working for our government that hate Trump. I'm talking about the CIA heads. I'm talking about the people in the FBI that are still cock-blocking Cash Patel. Those people need to go.
My first thing was when I heard about where this guy came from, I was like, oh my God, this isn't a one-off. This isn't a lone wolf. This is an intentional design to start basically an internal physical component of what I call this color revolution. And this is just one among many that I think that we should expect to see. My first thing was when I heard about where this guy came from.
General Flynn is talking about this assassin, the Afghani shooter that shot the 2 National Guard. And General Flynn thinks it's an op. He don't think it's just a lone gunman. He thinks this is something that is maybe put out by the CIA to this guy here to start what he called a color revolution, meaning to sow discord, to try to pit the American people and the National Guard and all our men in service, women in service, to pit them against this Antifa faction, these crazy radicals, these Democrats that are calling for sedition and mutiny against the president. This is all part of a CIA operation plan, and the way the media is covering it as well proves that, to basically start a civil war in this country, make this country at such unrest like they did during the BLM riots that nobody's happy with the way life is going, and the next thing you know, they try to push Trump out and not elect another Republican because of the fact that we couldn't keep the country even calm during our term. It's part of the plan. They're trying to divide the lines so they can grow voters, as they say. And it's pretty obvious. They don't want to just win votes. They want to totally take over, overthrow, and destroy our country. This is a color revolution, folks. And it's not necessarily black and white, brown color revolution, but it is a cultural revolution that is being pushed through the media, through the violence, through the rhetoric. And our country's not new to this. We went through a Cold War with Russia. And this guy right here, it's a little bit of a long speech, but this guy right here is talking about in 1958 how communism/socialism is the biggest threat to America, and it's already seeping into our country. And this is in 1958. Take it when he's telling this, but everything he's talking about is exactly what we're going through right now, every bit of it.
There are 3 possible methods by which the communists might take us over. One would be by a peaceful coup d'etat, as in Czechoslovakia in 1948. The second method would be by fomenting civil war in this country and aiding the communist side with military might. But there is a third method, which they are clearly relying on most heavily, and this is taking us over by a process so gradual and insidious that communist rule is slipped over so far on the American people before they ever realize it is happening.
It's called open borders.
The process in that direction is going on right now, gradually but surely, and with ever-increasing spread and speed. A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. But another part is the conversion of the United States into a socialist nation, quite similar to Russia itself in its economy and political outlook, before police state enforcement is ever introduced. The best way to explain the aim here is simply to quote the directive under which some of the very largest American foundations have been secretly but visibly working for years. This directive is so to change the economic and political structure of the United States that it can be comfortably merged with Soviet Russia. Now, here are the communist aims for the United States. 1. Greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible.
We've seen a lot of that in the last 4 years. Look at what they found, what Doge found, what you said.
2. Higher and then much higher taxes. 3. An increasingly unbalanced budget despite the higher taxes. 4. Wild inflation of our currency. 5. Government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation. 6.
That's those government grocery stores Mondami was talking about. That's the food stamp lines. That's the whole welfare process. That's the free Medicaid for illegals. It's all about breaking the system by giving out more than you can actually afford.
Greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied naturally and automatically by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government. 7. Far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a...
That's the bureaucracy he's talking about. It's the deep state. It's the lobbyist money controlling Washington.
Many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8. The steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education. 9. A constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace, peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world and of the United States itself. In summary, gentlemen, we are losing, rapidly losing, a Cold War in which our freedom, our country, and our very existence are at stake. And while we don't seem to know we are losing this war, you can be sure the communists do. There is just one thing, only one thing in the whole world which the communists fear today. It is that despite their tremendous influence in our government and over all of our means of mass communication, the American people will wake up too soon to what has really been happening and what is now happening right under their very noses. The only thing which can possibly stop the communists is for the American people to learn the truth in time.
And that's absolutely true, folks. And this was 1958, and I can see it happening then. So they've got about 60 years of entrenchment in our government, in our institutions, in our schools, in our three-lettered agencies, in so many facets of our life, in television, movies. They're brainwashing us slowly but surely into being the frogs in the pot that didn't mind getting boiled because the temperature rose slightly until it was too late. I don't want to be a frog in the pot, folks. I want everybody to know just how rotten our system is and how much it is such an important issue that we get a lot of this stuff fixed. Not just talking points from Pam Blondie and Kash Patel, but actually get some shit done, get some politicians that are part of the problem, get some George Soros types locked up, prevented from being able to do business in our country, blocked from the banking institutions being able to fund things through their NGOs that actually destroy our country. There's ways to deal with this, and I'm just waiting for the hammer to drop. And I think over the next 4 years, hopefully Trump is not just looking at the day-to-day dealings for how to make tomorrow better, but how to make things better in the long term, like getting rid of USAID, things of that nature.
He needs to recognize that we must.
So, what do we need to do about all this communism, socialism, deterioration, destruction of our country? Several things. One, don't vote for people like Tim Walz, or Mommy Mandami, or whatever the heck his name is. We also need to do like what General Flynn says. We need to come through with a wrecking ball and destroy a lot of these agencies, if not fire 70-80% of the people that work there. Sounds unrealistic, but maybe that's the answer. Now, the CIA has been proven to be so corrupt behind this USAID money. They're literally doing regime change all over the world on money that nobody knows how they got it. And so many things. I believe the CIA is a bunch of drug traffickers as well. Maybe just the top tier, but the CIA is into way too many things, way too many cover-ups, like the Epstein cover-up and the cover-up of the fact that they weaponized the government against Trump, and we still have got no prosecutions. That's because some people at the top are still pulling strings. That's what I have to believe, folks. Otherwise, this train would have done rolled down the tracks, and we would have seen a lot more. But we are getting direct opposition from the inside. The only explanation I can imagine as to why certain things are not being handled up on, like the Epstein information, like the fact that we got people that work for our government, FBI, CIA, DOJ officials that hate Trump, have been hating on Republicans for most of their career, and have done their best to try to usurp Trump with their weaponization ways. And that's just the fact, folks. These people need to be out of office, out of their job, and some of them incarcerated. Just my opinion, folks. But General Flynn has got a great idea as well. He said,
stop the CIA from driving U.S. policy, domestically and foreign. I'm telling you, Steve, that is a massive, massive problem. And I wouldn't say 50%. I would say shut the doors. It is no longer, it's a dead organization, because it's an organization that is killing. It operates in the darkness. It is killing us. And so that's my message to President Trump. That's sort of step one for him. I don't care what somebody's handicap is. You take that organization and you rip it apart, because that organization is driving our policy everywhere, and it's killing our country right now. And it really is. I mean, the people that are part of it and the people that have been part of it are the ones still operating and driving everything going on in our nation. I mean, it's got to stop. It has to stop. And that means in Congress, that means in the White House, that means in the judiciary, and that's definitely overseas, some of the things that they're doing, the nefarious things that they're doing. And that's not going to make me any friends over there at Langley, but too goddamn bad. These people, right. This organization is driving this country and has been driving this country for 50 years or more. It has to be completely gutted and changed. And you're right about the other organizations. You know, we got to quit playing games.
CIA is a huge part of the problem that has never been discussed or addressed at all whatsoever as to why we, I think the CIA's got all the information the FBI is trying to hide. If not Space Force, satellites have got a lot of this information about things like our stolen elections. The information is out there. That's not the issue. It's the issue is who's going to take the information and do the right thing with it. And I'm not talking about referring it over to Congress so the American people can find out, because the American people do need to find out. That is part of the process. But more than exposure, we want disclosure. We want to see people actually held accountable for the crimes they've committed against our country, and then and that be the exposure, not just the story of who was a crook, but who was a crook and how they got caught. The FBI Director Cash Patel delivers a nightmare fuel for James Comey. Says action is coming in the next few days. Now that's another one of the many things that we can do to fix this country. is start putting these cretins right here, these people right here in this picture, put every single one of these clowns in jail. Obama, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Hillary, Bill Clinton too. I don't know if he was mean as the rest, but he definitely needs to go to jail. Strzok, there's a bunch of Jake Tapper. Oh, there is so many in here that need to go to jail. Zero deep state arrest. Says, as I believe when action has been taken, I'll believe it when action has been taken. As for now, here's the tote board. Russia collusion hoax. We got one person indicted. January 6th, Mar-a-Lago raid. Biden auto pen. 2020 election. Epstein pedo arrest. COVID arrest. Benghazi arrest. Doge findings arrest. People that were working for UCED stealing our money. Ukraine impeachment hoax. Now, all these things, at this point, I would have to say, we got nothing. We got a long way to go, folks. And I hope this next year, 2026, is the year of exposure. So let's see what Kash Patel has to say about James Comey again.
Because it's pending in terms of appellate status and what we are going to do for the next steps, the judicial process can make whatever determination it wants, but we, the FBI, and our partners at the DOJ have numerous options to proceed, and we're executing on all those options. So we're not done.
Any detail available?
I would say stay tuned for right after Thanksgiving, and you'll see multiple responses, in my opinion.
So you've initiated some cultural changes at the FBI. That's something that many people have talked about. Some people like it, some people don't. What would you say is the most...
Because it's pending.
The most significant thing that needs to be done at the FBI is they need to fire everybody that worked against Trump. I don't care if they're following orders or not. You should not be working against our sitting president. Period. It was just lack of ability to follow orders, obstruction of justice, destroying of evidence. Oh my God, I wonder how many FBI guys can get busted on destruction of evidence. Well, we got a few more things that definitely need to be handled up on in this country, like voting for these people to be out of our country and not in our public offices. No more Mandamis, no more Tim Waltzes, these Somali lovers. We cannot have these people running the show. We just can't do it, folks. It won't work for this country. We're going to destroy our country from inside out, and we need to get a handle on it immediately. Now, Trump's Muslim Brotherhood ban is probably going to make a huge difference. Shutting all visas off at this point from anybody else applying for a visa and coming into our country, basically closing our borders on every front, with a few exceptions. That's what I voted for. That's what it's going to take to try to get our country going in the right direction. But this is going to take years, folks, to get this problem under control, and I just pray for our country in the meantime and hope for the best. Now, this here is one of the things that absolutely needed to be done. Another one of the scandals that's finally going to get some reconciliation, restitution.
I'll read you exactly what he posted. He said, quote, any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. He says the auto pen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. He also says in that post, quote, I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the auto pen did so illegally. He goes on to say in that post, Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process, and if he says he was, he'll be brought up on charges of perjury. He says, thank you for your attention to this matter. Of course, this was just posted moments ago to Truth Social. Again, the president, as we know, following him is at the golf course. So, of course, we're hoping to confirm and get any more information about this. Elise.
Well, that will help a lot. I'm glad to see that's actually rolling that way. That should be an open shut case, slam dunk. Getting everybody that was involved in the auto pen scandal not to just come in for questioning like they have been subpoenaed to do, but be prosecuted if they played any role in it. Like that guy Jeff Zients, that woman, what's her name, Dr. Biden, Jill Biden, and Hunter Biden, and I'm sure Ron Klain and several more, including a bunch of staffers, are guilty of pushing these pardons out. So it's a huge win that all of Biden's executive orders are null and void. It's now a matter of getting the pardons revoked. That's where it's at, folks. When we get into that, we may find out who paid to play to get these criminals out of jail. That'd been a whole other can of worms to open up, find out how many staffers we could put in prison behind that crap. You know, some people got rich pardoning 8,000 people. Somebody got paid. No doubt about it. Somebody got paid. But all these things, these last couple of clips here, are things we could do. Things that we could do just to help. Just to help. Now, another thing we can do, folks, is do not let people like Tim Walz be in government. Do not let the Mondamis win elections. We have got to run. We've got to fix elections in California, New York, Illinois, and so many of North Carolina, so many states. Once we fix the election process, it should be pretty simple if everybody just shows up and does the right thing and actually votes in these elections. Actually shows up and votes for the right team. Copyright strike or not, we're going to play it anyway. Call this last video of the day. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful weekend, enjoying their time off. Like, subscribe, and share if you haven't already. Let's get with it. Show me the all damn day. All damn day. I love it. Il Donald Trumpo got a great channel over here as well, folks. You are welcome to come check him out. But more than that, I wanted to tell y'all about this lady up here. Let me back up, see if I can find her name. It's a lady that was interviewing her name is Miss Catherine Heritage. Let's go ahead and find it. If you want to watch any of this, it's on YouTube and on X, but the full interview is available. Her name is Catherine Heritage. You're welcome to come find her channel over here on X. And she's got highlighted clips of the whole thing. Her interview with Kash Patel about what we're going to do to James Comey, about what's coming down the pike. And like I said, just putting a shout out to this lady here. Great interview, great investigative journalist, and straight to the point, exclusive, right here on Catherine Heritage's channel. Come check her out if you want to watch that full interview with Kash Patel on her channel called Straight to the Point. And I believe that's the name of it over here on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe, and